Good evening and welcome to 365 Days of Amazing Stories with Theo Mayer. Here we are on day 172, and I'm continuing the story of Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves. Now the story gets more and more complicated and intense at this point. The one robber who had offered himself up to go and find out whatever he could in the village about a person who had recently died, hoping to find out some information about the man that they had quartered. Upon entering that southern gate, immediately came upon the old cobbler. Mustafa was his name. And he looked at the old cobbler and he said, "How can you possibly even see to sew, as old as you are?" And the cobbler said, "I will have you know that just the other night I sewed a body together and less light than there is right now." Well, the robber was delighted by this, and he took out a gold coin and he placed it into Mustafa's hand and asked, "Please take me to the house where you did this work." Mustafa said, I cannot, I was blindfolded." The robber handed him a second piece of gold. And Mustafa said, "Fine, blindfold me again, and I will try to retrace my footsteps." And so they went through the village, and the cobbler was indeed able to lead the robber directly to Kasim's house. The robber was delighted. He took out a piece of chalk and marked the door, took Mustafa back to his stall, went out through the south gate, and back to the robber's den where all the rest of the robbers awaited him. The captain was delighted by the news. And the captain, with some other men, made his way into the village and back to Kasim's house. Now, in the meantime, Morgiana had come out, and she had seen the chalk mark on the door. Having some intuition about what this mark was about, she took a piece of chalk and marked the other doors on either side, 2 to 3 doors away, with the same mark. So when the robber leading the captain and some other men came to the door, well, they were not sure which door was Kasim's. The captain was not happy. Following through with his original instructions, when they got back to the robber's den, the man was beheaded. A second robber volunteered to go in the next day and do a better job of marking the house door. He met with Mustafa again. Mustafa took him directly to this place without being blindfolded, because he had walked back from it and knew exactly where it was. And the robber now took out a red piece of chalk and marked the door. Morgiana again saw this mark and came out and marked the other doors on either side with red chalk this time. When the captain and his men arrived, again, multiple doors were marked. The same fate beheld this second robber. The captain now went to Mustafa, who was getting quite rich with all these gold coins. Mustafa led the captain of the robbers to the house. This time, the captain, being somewhat smarter than the rest of his men, studied the house and the door very closely. Once he did and had memorized, he went away back to the robber's den and instructed his men on the next phase of their intent to rid the world of this other man that must know their secret. We'll leave the story there for now.